We are diving back into the future to bring back into the present upgrades into our lives, embrace changes with safety and security, and to continue marching on forward and making progress no matter how small. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Christine. Welcome to this week's weekly energy forecast for the week of February 12th through the 18th. We are upgrading our lives right now from the future. I feel like there's a lot of energies that are coming in, like I've mentioned in previous videos and in the new moon in Aquarius video. We are seeing glimpses, perhaps different forms of prophecies. We're getting glimpses, we're getting messages about things that have already occurred, materialized in perhaps other timelines that are going to start materializing in our present timeline. So if you are new here, I'm Christine. I love making content around spirituality, tarot, astrology. I'm also an intuitive spiritual coach. If you're ever interested in any of my services, look down below in the description box. I offer an opportunity to schedule what I call a synergy call for any of my services, whether it's a personal reading or coaching or anything else you're interested in. I'll be adding some new services shortly. I realize I don't really mention that. For me, it's a given. I'm like, it's down there. But some folks, I realize, don't know about it. So I'm just putting it out there. There's never any pressure. If you're simply wanting to connect, book a call with me. I'm not a salesy person. I like meeting new people. And if you have any questions for me about what I do, I'm happy to share that. So check in with me, you all. How are you doing this week? There's been a lot. I feel like I say this every week. 2024 has started off with a bang. I feel like a rocket. And I feel like, you know, when rockets go, you kind of get a lot of noise. I mean, I've only seen it from TVs. I've never personally witnessed a rocket launching, but that's what it's felt. So take a moment, drop an emoji. How are you feeling? What's been going on? I feel like as soon as something like a challenge is done, it's like snowball. So I'm trying to maintain an optimistic attitude, but lots of clearing out, lots of catharsis happening, lots of cleansing and purification. This is the last week of Aquarius, or I should say the sun in Aquarius before it shifts into Pisces. So happy birthday to all of my Aquarians and happy birthday to my February 18 Pisceans. I have March here. Okay, let's get into the astrology. Reminders, all times are in Eastern Standard Time, New York City time for reference. On February 13th, we have Mars entering Aquarius. So it's leaving its exaltation, which was in Capricorn. We also have Venus in Capricorn sextiling Neptune in Pisces. And I immediately got here, action time. We're moving forward. The wheels are churning. The gears are churning. Mars is all about action, energy, passion, drive, ambition. Sexuality, I would say more in virility, conflict, bravery, and individuality. In Aquarius, Mars is very, or I should say highly sociable, intellectual, dynamic, individualistic, avant-garde, pursuing out of the norm or perhaps fringe interests and passions, or putting energy, perhaps using a different way. Let me say that again. Perhaps using your energy in a different way to get what it is you want accomplished. There's a stop and go energy with Aquarius because I feel like there's a need to absorb new information, especially psychic or practical information. So there may be moments of going all in with Mars and Aquarius and then stopping to regroup and absorb information and then restarting. Aquarius is traditionally ruled by Saturn, so there's also a tremendous opportunity here for growth, albeit in your own way or to your own drum. The power dynamic here in Mars, because it's ruled by the Greek god Ares, or Aries as some people say, wants to be consolidated, but Aquarius is more diffused here. So there's an air of emotional detachment that you may be feeling, with a focus on being free or freedom, sovereignty, independence, autonomy, no one like encroaching on you. Also, this is a really wonderful time to consider alternative modalities, alternative healings, something that you may not have tried. It doesn't have to be anything far-fetched. If it's something you haven't tried, you may consider it. So don't be surprised if you uncover new ways, like I already suggested earlier, about using your energy, your drive, a sexual drive too, and anger. There could be some new way that you may express or find some type of relationship or connection to anger. Mars also severs and cuts. And something to consider here is when you disengage, separate, or resolve issues, it may be done in a different way. And I highlighted that before. I feel too, this is what came to me, we may see increased protest, strikes, unique campaigns, think along the electoral political spectrum, increased participation in group settings like education, trainings, activism, advocacy, especially with Saturnian-ruled themes. I mentioned this in the new moon in Aquarius video where I talked a little bit more about the archetype of Aquarius, and perhaps in future videos I'd love to do more as time allows, in-depth videos on the meaning of the signs, because there's so much symbolism and I would say astrological history. And again, it'll depend on your astrological beliefs. But this Aquarian energy is very open-minded as well and progressive in that way because it's reaching for something celestial, cosmic, spiritual. But they're also very grounded in their beliefs. So Mars in Aquarius, you may find that you are perhaps obstinate, stubborn, or you hold on strongly to what you believe in, what you're doing, and you're connecting it to something that may not be seen. I feel like that was a struggle to say. We have Venus sextile Neptune. Love is in the air and all around. And there's a grounded, spiritual, very compassionate, empathic energy here with this alignment. And there's a lot of positive influences with relationships, especially centering around Venusian themes, in particular love, romance, friendships, females. So there's a huge boost here, not just with others, but also with self. So self-love activities, however you define it, extra pampering, especially when you integrate spiritual practices, is going to be extremely helpful, but also supportive during this day and week. I also feel like creative and psychic juices are flowing, especially with both of these energies from Venus and Neptune. And in addition, with the Mars energy, you may have a lot of good ideas that come up and that you want to execute or take action on. So with the Aquarius, which is more forward-thinking, progressive, and the Neptunian energy in Pisces, you get more of the spiritual, psychic, emotional energy. I feel like you're going to have really amazing insights that come through that you truly care about through dreams and sudden insights like epiphanies. So stay tuned with that, because sometimes we connect to things that sound amazing, but it's not something always that we deeply care about, because there's a spectrum of those things. Excellent time too to update your wardrobe, cosmetics or makeup, any adornments, home decor, decor on yourself, think jewelry, accessories, etc. And anything you consider luxury, because that's really broadly defined. Everyone has their own luxuries, and it has nothing to do with money. If you're single, this is also a wonderful time to go out and explore, meet new people, go to new environments, put yourself out there in different ways. And with friends, same thing. This energy really supports social connection in general. Great time if you want to do something social or get your extrovert on, connect with people, again, through dinners, going to the movies, any social activities, hanging out by nature. Overall, beautiful energy for creative and artistic endeavors, writing, self-care, spirituality, and movement. On the 14th of February, Valentine's Day here in the US, we have Mars in Aquarius, conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. Turbo V8 engine. Immediately I got a snail, and I got the little snail from that movie. I think it was Turbo. So we're going to continue building on these energies this week, and they're amping up. And just with the reference I mentioned on Turbo, he was the slow garden snail that wanted to become a racer. So this is definitely the energy. You may feel the need or the desire to do things, either hurriedly, quickly put your energy into something and consolidate it and go all out. And there's an overall desire here for deep change, transformation, renewal, especially around themes of power, energy, ambition, and perhaps conflict or violence, because Mars does rule over that. So I feel like we're going to feel just a surge. The higher or perhaps positive octave of this is feeling amped up about what it is we want to do and what we want to change in our lives, because Pluto does represent some sort of deep, profound change. We're ready to leave something and get out of that, because when you change, you're saying goodbye to something and saying hello to something, right? As the wheel turns. So there's a search for independence, for going forward, for making progress here. And something that kept coming up here, ever listen to those videos where they put or compile a bunch of different motivational speakers into one clip? And usually they're short, anywhere from 4 to 10 minutes, but they have long ones too. But the main goal is to amp you up, to motivate you, to uplift you. And when you listen to them, you just feel like revved up. That's the energy of this alignment. So you may feel such a strong and intense desire to change something or someone in your life, hopefully yourself. And this is where you can really put into good use this energy into your goals, into taking meaningful action in a slow and steady way. Because one of the perhaps, I wouldn't say negative, but tricky manifestations of this is potential burnout. And you don't want to you don't want that to affect your health, your mental state, your emotional state. You also don't want to get to that point where you put so much into something or someone and then you're just done. You're like, I need a break. There's also increased volatility here when we have Pluto and Mars together. So be careful from your end or from others with tempers, conflicts, outbursts, reactivity, something coming up like triggers. Because with Pluto, I often find that, when you squeeze an orange, and when you really squeeze it, especially if you're doing it manually and you're trying to get the last drop out, that's what I feel like with this. It could be almost like a chokehold where Pluto brings up a lot of things. It's cleaning out. And things may come up where you're like, wow, I thought that was finalized. I thought that was done. I thought that lesson was learned. I didn't think there was any beef with that person. And then something happens. So something to pay attention during this week is pause. I always say this. There's a motto with a fire situation that I learned as a kid. And I think many folks know this. Stop, drop, and roll. If you ever catch on fire, like stop what you're doing, drop to the ground and roll to put out the flames. Similar to this, because in essence, it's like a volcano coming up. When you're angry, especially if someone is triggering you or there's a heated conversation, it is so easy to allow that volcano, our inner volcanoes, to erupt. But a lot of times it doesn't really help anything. It doesn't diffuse the situation. It only adds more tension, more conflict, and things could escalate. So something that can help is stop, drop, and roll. Pause and allow yourself to find a safe space or be in the presence or in the container of someone safe to talk about this or to get it out if you need someone else or to journal this. On the 16th of February, we have Venus entering Aquarius one by one, Mars and Venus together this week. We have Mercury in Aquarius squaring Uranus and Taurus. So changes in the air and all around us. This has been a big theme, especially with our relationships. I feel like boundaries, relationships, there's a lot of healing going on and how we express ourselves. So a lot of folks are getting really, I would say, more clear, because when you start on this path of, well, I'll just say finding yourself, working on your soul journey, healing, you start setting different boundaries to protect yourself, not to keep people out, but to keep your love to yourself. It's self-love. It's really a way of demonstrating, like, this is what is important for me. And for me to feel at my best and to honor myself, this is what needs to happen. A lot of this is becoming very, I would say, determinate and more expressed. It's being expressed more, especially with this Aquarian energy. So with Venus in Aquarius, similar to Mars, but obviously Venus is the contrariety of Mars here. Venus is all about love, relationships, harmony, pleasures, values, also our finances too, although Mercury rules money. Aquarius is innovative, progressive, avant-garde, unique, different. So Venus here will present herself very comfortably by socializing more with friends. There's an aspect here of connecting with folks more intellectually, more sociably. It's lively. You may actually connect to new people or connect with people in different ways than you used to. Trying new things in all of your relationships, especially friendships and love, can really allow greater growth. Because when you do, have you noticed like when you do things over and over with someone or even in your routine, it gets stagnant, right? And you need to shake things up. And this is what a lot of these energies the past several weeks have been asking us to do. You want to grow. Well, you got to change something. Either you're changing a routine, friends, what you do, so you can get a different output. It's like a basic equation here. With Venus square Uranus, this could test, I feel, strong or a poor foundation or stability with relationships, especially if you're wanting to really make a big change and do something different. So if you're wanting to inject something fresh and new in your romantic relationships, this could be something where you talk about it with your partner, something you're like, hey, let's try something different. Maybe you want to switch things up, in how you connect physically or emotionally, do different dates, learn more deeply about your love languages. Great way. Maybe try something different. Instead of doing the same old couch and movie date, maybe go out and do something more exciting, rock climbing in a gym or something different. There's something new that wants to be injected here. But I also feel too, Venus square Uranus, because Uranus could also mean a sudden ending or stop. So some folks, your relationship status with friends or with romantic partners could change here from single to partnership or vice versa. And if you're going to partner with someone, I feel like it could be short term or could be someone that comes through your life to help you learn something. Not always. Same thing too with foundations and relationships. When they're not strong or the stability there is not present, Uranus could wipe it out, like bulldoze it. On February 17th, we have Venus in Aquarius conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. I immediately got Persephone and Hades. So there's a deep, deep desire here for relationship, connection, love, pleasure, intimacy, and something that comes up to the lower octaves, whether it's from someone else or you, is be careful of any manipulations that come up or shady tactics like possessiveness, stalking, kidnapping. And some of these are very serious. So I say this, hopefully it doesn't affect anyone, but there's an obsessive quality here when Venus conjuncts Pluto, especially around Venusian themes. And this really brought up what Hades did to Persephone in Greek mythology. Hades represents Pluto in Greek mythology, and Persephone was Demeter's daughter, and that's why we have the shifting of the seasons, because Hades kidnapped her. He fell in love with her. She did not. It was a one-sided, non-reciprocal love. And so with Venus conjunct Pluto, this could often, not always, sometimes bring that up too. Intense, one-sided, or unrequited love from others, where other people are projecting that onto you, or you onto them. And I won't go into the story, but I kept getting that strongly. So there's an intense magnetic transformational energy here with all relationships with people of all kinds, especially dark ones. So really tap into discernment here. If you're meeting new people, if something feels off, you're like, something's off my radar, really, really trust yourself, because Pluto also brings in strong psychic antenna energy. You will feel it in your body. So if any of you are connecting to new people or friendships, going out, anything with love and romance, even with your finances and your values, really connect to what you're feeling. My 2 cents I offered here. I would bathe in this energy for yourself. Create a platform, a bubble, a container of self-love, because this is very passionate, very deep. And the way that you would like to receive love, really offer that to yourself. Whatever it is, everyone has different ways that they connect and what makes them feel good. Tap into your love language. Maybe you want to get a book of poetry or romantic books, or if you're into clothing, a beautiful clothing that represents love or makes you feel good, or really satiate with foods, because there's an embodiment and sensual aspect here with Venus. On February 18th, the Sun leaves its exile in Aquarius. Excuse me, the Sun enters Pisces. Yes, brain fart. The Sun leaves Aquarius. That was its exile and detriment, and it enters Pisces. So the Sun here has no dignity or debility here, but Pisces is a mutable or double-bodied sign here. It's a feminine water sign, and it's traditionally ruled by Jupiter. So we're coming out of the darkness here and heading towards the light of Aries or spring. And this is symbolic because not everyone, especially if you're in the southern hemisphere, will align to this. So darkness is still dominant, but we're seeing light now. And Pisces represents and revolves around themes of hope, faith, redemption, compassion, empathy, intuition, emotional or watery. Venusian themes as well. Divinity, visions, dreams, delusions, sensitivity as well. So the Sun takes on these qualities, and we may feel more in touch with our feminine energies, our emotions, our sensitivities. I also feel like this will open up the psychic planes, the psychic portals, channels, pipes of our souls. So you may also have increased dreams, prophetic dreams or visions. Anything with astral lucid travel is going to be heightened as well. This is also a beautiful time to connect to any emotional release or any feelings or anything that you want to get out. Forgiveness, compassion, it could be metta or ho'oponopono therapies or anything around those themes can also be beneficial during this time. Anything having to do with service, generosity, assistance, supporting others in a way, obviously, that's not detrimental to you. Huge concept too around spirituality. There's a search for meaning type of vibration here. So take a look wherever Pisces is highlighted, because you'll be able to get a better look and idea of some of the messages you may be receiving through dream states or however you receive extrasensory information, and apply that to the area of your life in the best way possible. You all, coming up next week, we have Mercury in Pisces. It enters its detriment and fall here on the 23rd of February. And then we have the full moon in Virgo on February 21st. Excuse me, 24th. Let's get into the tarot. Let's see what other additional messages we need to know for this week. Have you all felt like things are just shifting rapidly? Because I feel like I'm in a video game. This is really loud. I need a mat underneath this because these cards are loud. Things have been shifting so quickly in 2024, irrespective of this energy that we're currently in, which is an air masculine sign of Aquarius. So really quick, things are moving as fast as we put things up. It seems like they're blown away. What messages do we need to know for the upcoming week? What messages do we need to know for the upcoming week? We got one. Anything else we need to know? Okay, thank you. We got Ace of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Okay, we got the Star card, Aquarius. This is a beautiful deck. I believe it's local and a friend gifted it to me. And it's very different artistically. We have Queen of Cups, water energy, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Something to note, it's Cancer. 10 of Pentacles, earth energy, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. This deck almost seems Aquarian to me. There's major healing with relationships coming this week. Major stability too. Some of you are clearing out. So don't be surprised. And I don't feel like what I'm about to say is news or something new. I feel like many people who are in this situation or these situations, you already feel it. Feel like you're going to have people leave your life. I just feel like it's energetic. They may not show up. You may feel like, oh, it just happened organically, or people, they just exit, or things just kind of fall away, right? I feel like there's a reworking, like a reshuffling, that's the word, of connections happening. There's a lot of healing that's happened. And when that happens, especially when it concerns areas around self-love, uh, boundaries, honoring yourself, and so many other themes, it generally creates a massive shift, not just in your identity, but how you relate to others in the world. And I'm seeing this here, especially with this star card. I get for some of you, you are calling in more stable relationships in your life, more emotionally connected relationships. I feel like stuck with my words. Relationships that you can, there's like a depth here, so you can call them like deep relationships, I'll say, soulmate type relationships, all kinds, platonic and romantic. There's a need here to connect with people that are just real and feel real and that just fit you, like a shoe fits you. You know, when you find a shoe and it just feels like the perfect shoe made for you, that's what I feel like is the essence of this week's energy, especially with connections. There's a cleaning up energy, and it's no surprise because as we end the astrological year with Pisces, which is the last sign on the zodiac until we enter Aries, which starts the zodiac, or starts this astrological year, I should say, we are releasing, cleansing, letting go of so many things. And with the rapidity and acceleration that's been happening, with a lot of shifts, things are popping off like corks off a wine bottle, or like fireworks. I usually use firework energy. They're popping off. And it's just like, crap, this. You know, in movies where you see water pop up in holes, and or maybe in cartoons, and the character is trying to plug them up and it's still going everywhere. That's what's happening. And I feel like this is happening for, obviously, an alignment. Everyone is getting realigned to where the soul wants to go. So there's healing happening, continued. Maybe one day in the future we can put a check mark on healing. This is a continuous process, but this week expect some type of, I wanted to say outbreak, but it's not in a negative connotation, some type of breakthrough. That's what I want to say. Some type of breakthrough or realization about yourself in relationships to others, or about another relationship or person in your life that's coming through. And that's going to be especially healing for you. This is really beautiful energy right now. Many of you, as we ascend, and the way I'm going to say this, it doesn't mean that just because it didn't work out with certain people that they're shit or that they're crap. Think about it just in frequency like radio or TVs, right? We don't always like the same channel. Sometimes the channel doesn't work for us, and so we move up. But there's plenty of other people that like that channel. Same thing with these people that are leaving or shifting or moving around in your life. You're going to be going into a different frequency. And I feel like you're connecting to something more emotionally, soul, perhaps spiritually aligned to you. There's a lot of stability coming in with the Ten of Pentacles. For some of you, this could be related to your career or your workspace, however you bring in income or resources with others. So it could be non-financial as well, but there's some form of stability here. So you may meet more people in that avenue that provide stable, supportive, secure connections and networks. But in general, I get the energy that what you're releasing are things that foundation wasn't stable. So that's where the release is, what I'm feeling here. Overall, I feel just a sigh of relief coming, and we've got angels, and look, angels here. We also have cherubs in the back. There's completions in many relationships. And again, because of the nodes, there have been a shitload of relationships. Comment down below. I'd be interested to hear. Any of you, you don't even have to go into detail. How many of you here have experienced major relationship changes across the board? Work relationships, romantic, platonic, friends, everything. Because there's been a major shift, I would say, in the last 6 months. Let's move on. I have 3 more oracle. I'm going to grab a Moonology oracle and see what else we need to know for this week. We have Believe in the Impossible, Blue Moon. that brought up and reminded me of that song, Blue Moon, Blue Moon. I'm not gonna sing it, but look it up. You saw me standing alone or around, without a dream of my own, without a heart of my own. Something about that song is coming through. Believe in the impossible. Some of you, I feel, this week, we're being guided to have more faith. You know, again, when that firework energy or that shit just keeps popping off, like all those water holes and leaks are happening, and you're plugging it in, you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? When something just things keep popping off in your life, it's so easy to go down that loop of negativity, of hanging on to that negative loop, and just everything goes down the drain. We're like, huh, see ya, we're going down the drain. This is like a universal reinforcement that's saying, okay, it's time to get back up, climb out of that drain or drainage, and it's time to have faith. Just because you get knocked down, even if it's felt like a bulldozer or like a domino, just because you've gotten knocked down doesn't mean you will. There are lessons that we may not understand at this moment that are happening, and in retrospect, we will see it. Naturally, most of us, when we go through challenges, we come out a shitload stronger. We're different. We may see things from a different point of view. A lot of this is also focusing us or refocusing us back to our values and what's important in life. And sometimes we have to experience the shit to truly appreciate and wake us up to the good things in our life. It'd be great if everything was always like a cartoon, like a fun cartoon. This is too about, if any of you have anything to say to people or to express, maybe to yourself or to acknowledge, this is the week to do it. What else do we need to know for this week? Hold on, you guys, half the deck fell. Let me put these cards back. Either that's a cue for a shit ton. We're gonna reshuffle and see what else we need to know. We don't need all these cards. Thank you. We have the moon's wisdom. Take the lead. This is about taking initiative in your life. For any of you that are really focused on relationships in general, I'm going to keep it broad, so all types of relationships. And it just seems like maybe things aren't working out in the way that you anticipated, or things have just felt like they've been hampered, like block after block or challenge after challenge in your relationships, all or one. There's something here about taking a step back, because when you are so in it, when you're in the shit, sometimes you can't see things with clarity. Taking a step back is going to allow that, because remember, the moon reflects what the sun sees. So sometimes what you are looking into, right? Like when you look into a water, you usually see a reflection. So when you are looking into a certain relationship, especially one that's maybe been encumbered by a lot of challenges or difficulties, sometimes we're getting a reflection back, but we're not understanding it. And there's a space element here too. This is also an opportunity for you to put a pause on that. Sometimes relationships are not resolved, like issues or things that come up, they're not resolved in the time that we want. Generally, they're not. There's shit that comes up. Sometimes we have to wait several weeks, time, distance, etc. This is an opportunity to focus on you and to start taking leadership, a greater leadership role in what it is that you desire in your life. Doesn't mean that you're just like, oh, I guess I'm out of luck with the relationships, it's gone. No, there's only so much you can do. I do not get the energy here that you're supposed to take the leadership on relationships and initiate like a cardinal sign here. I'm not getting that energy. This is more about you. Some of you may have inner work around letting go of trying to make certain relationships or things, events happen. So there's an element of releasing control here and leaning back and realizing things are going to work out. But sometimes you just have to get or take a step back. Let's pull a final oracle. I'm pulling from the Pleiadians. I've been feeling a lot of starseed messages, oracles, guidance coming through lately. So if you connect with starseeds, pay attention to the messages you're receiving, because I feel like a lot of people that do connect with starseeds are being called. You're getting activation messages, whatever you want to call it. Okay, last card. Okay. Strength of purpose. Look at this. I have to say this. Some of you have relationships right now. Again, broadly, I'm not delineating any particular one. There's some folks in your life that are detracting you from what it is that you want to do or that you're here to do. And it could be several things. There's something about coming back to yourself and taking, like, how do I put it, like leadership qualities, accountability for yourself, and just saying to the others or anything that's distracting you right now, okay, I'm putting you on pause. There was a movie or a cartoon where the characters, if they would put pause on them, you know, where they freeze. It's kind of like that. Some of you are learning to let go, not in like, okay, goodbye, never see you again. You're learning to release the holds, the grips, the control, the reins. Because when you control something, we do it for safety reasons. And this stems back to traumas, wounds at the core level, right? When we hold on to things, we do it because we're afraid that we're not going to get it, we're not going to receive it, there's something that's going to be missing. So I feel like this week, some of you are learning through your relationships that the way to grow and perhaps improve your relationships, whether it's with these particular folks or even in general, it's going to be by taking a step back and letting go. There's an element of faith coming through here, of believing in what you don't believe in. I recommend making a list of maybe 10 things that really bring you happiness and joy and make you laugh. Perhaps laughter is the key theme here. 10 things. It could be a cartoon. There's a bunch of funny animal clips, comedy shows, movies, songs that make you dance like a child, maybe a color or a photo or memorabilia or remembrance. It could be going out with friends and doing trampolining, right? They have trampoline parks indoor, or going to the playground or doing something your inner child did. But there's an element here of connecting to joy, fun, to yourself. And I feel like this is bringing you back to you. This is going to give you the stability that you may desire. More importantly, the safety and security. It's not going to be holding on or controlling or like squeezing the orange, like I say, like trying to get as much out of this. It's going to be letting go and temporarily like hitting the pause button. You know, when you have an intermission and maybe you have to go to the bathroom, you're like, okay, let me pause the movie like that. So it's time to hit pause on anything that you feel is just a big distraction, something or anyone or a situation that's been repeatedly coming back at you. And of course, this means taking care of yourself. So if there's any harm involved, obviously extricate yourself. You all, I hope this reading helped. I know it's a little bit over. Thank you so much for being here. Of course, and as always, share with me what's been going on. Comment down below if this has helped in any way. I'm wishing you a beautiful week ahead. If this has helped, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, you all. I'll see you soon. Take care.